Hi guys, John here for another video. We're getting close to the 1000 now. It's getting really exciting. 30 off. Please, if you watch this, please subscribe. Anyway, we're going to have a look, a revisit to the old problem of sharpening pastel pencils. Now, I'm not going to mince my words. Let's see you the other side of the break. In this video we're going to have a look at 4 different ways of sharpening a pastel pencil. 4 alleged different ways of sharpening a pastel pencil. And at the end I'm just going to tell you what I think. So we've got this. We've got the trusty old handheld sharpener. Now I'm going to tell you, I've experienced all these over a long period of time. It's been a long time since I've even made a video like this. So I've experienced this, and I'm a very experienced pastel pencil artist as well as oil pastels and all that other palaver. So I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. Now, you can take it, you can leave it. There may be other things that you can use that I've not tried, and you know, I'm happy to hear about them if you want to tell me, but I can only tell you my experiences. So anyway, as I said, the handheld sharpener. That is, in itself, brilliant. No two ways about that. Brilliant. But it's not going to last you long. Now, the reason it's not going to last you long is because you're sharpening a pastel pencil. If it was a lead pencil, it'd last you a lot longer. But this is a pastel pencil, and they're made up of all this pigment and dry chalky type substance, and it's going to blunt this blade. Now, you can use one of these, but as soon as it starts getting blunt, you need to change this blade. Now, to some people that causes a bit of a problem. It's not really a problem. Just find the smallest screwdriver you can, take out that screw that's in there, and then you can buy these, which are replacement blades. I think there's probably about 10 in there. And they're as cheap as chips. I mean, I can't imagine they're any more than £3 or £4. This in itself is £3 or £4, so it's kind of £8, and that's going to last you a long time. But it's not ideal, is it? Let's be honest about that. It's not ideal. So that, for me, would be the second best out of the 4. Let's go to the other 2 now that are not quite so good. So, some time ago, Derwent were advertising this as a pastel pencil sharpener as well as other pencils. It's untrue. It's not a pastel pencil sharpener, and in fact a few years ago now, when I first bought one of these, based on that statement, I contacted them, and the catalogue that had it advertised as a pastel pencil sharpener actually does not do that any longer. So if you've ever been excited to find that this was a pastel pencil sharpener, it actually isn't. It's going to last you a little while, but I'm not going to tell you if you were doing pastel pencils every day it's going to last you 2 weeks, because what happens is that the mechanism inside the sharpening blade again blunts. But you can't replace this one too easy. You're going to look at 10, 14, 15 pounds to replace the blade for that. And this in itself is, I have no idea right now, but it's probably 20 quid, isn't it? So that's going to cost you a lot of money. And it's not going to last nowhere near as long as that handheld sharpener. So don't use one of these for pastel pencils. Any other type of pencil, it's not too bad at all, especially lead pencils. Coloured pencils, you'd have to feed a lead pencil through it to keep the blades cleaner. You would also do that with a pastel pencil, but it's not going to last you very long. Many years ago, when I was in search of using all these things, I, like you, went onto YouTube and watched a video like what I'm now doing, and there was a guy on there who was recommending this one. Now, this is the Swordfish sharpener. Now, he recommended it and said it had lasted him years. Now, it might well have done. I can't deny that, or, you know, I can't say that that hasn't, and it might well have done. But on his recommendation, I went out and bought one of these, and I'm going to be honest, it did last a lot longer, but not very long. We're talking months, not years, so it will last longer. And if you keep feeding the lead pencil for it, it'll last a little bit longer. It's certainly far, far better than that Super Point from Derwent. But eventually this is going to blunt as well. And you're going to have to replace the blade, which again is going to cost you £15. You've got all the hassle of undoing this mechanism. So, albeit it is good and better, it's not that good. So you don't really want to be doing this. And that's just my opinion. I wouldn't do it again. I will never buy another one of these unless it's just for another pencil. For pastel pencils, no. Just no. Experienced artist, I do know what I'm talking about. And, you know, I use this properly and it's not lasting me very, or it didn't last me very long. So, you could try it. I'm not going to stop you trying it, and I'm not going to go against this other artist's word at all. It may have worked for him, but for me this didn't work. That's a bit sad. I was pretty gutted actually, if I'm being honest, when that didn't work and didn't last as long as I thought it would do on that recommendation. But there you go. Life is sent to try us. So the last thing I'm going to show you is this Stanley knife. I'm going to be perfectly blunt, excuse the pun, about this. This is the only way you should be sharpening your pastel pencils. And the reason I say that is because if you used, say, an X-Acto knife or one of them knives that are in plastic where the blades come out, I don't know what they call them, craft knife, and you break the blades off, they're not really that sturdy. But this, you can get hold of that and you mustn't be frightened of it. Just because it looks big and bulky and scary, it doesn't mean it is. It's just this bit at the end, and that's not going to worry you. In fact, if you use an X-Acto knife, the blade is so thin that you can easily slip. If you use one of them craft knives, it could be, potentially, that plastic would break and you're going to get a blade into your hand. I'm not saying it would happen, and I don't suppose it ever has, but it could. So this is by far the best, and for me the only option now. This will cut away the wood and expose the core, and then you get into the actual sharpening process. Removing the wood isn't the sharpening process, it's just exposing the core ready for you to sharpen the core. So cut away the wood with this. It's far easier, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do it in a minute. So use this to cut away the wood, expose the core, then sharpen the core. You can use sandpaper, you could use this again. I wouldn't recommend it though, because you're going to be blunting the blade here, and these blades are easily replaceable and cheap though. They last quite a lot longer as well. I'm going to show you how to do this right now. So I've brought my rubbish bin up to an acceptable level, it's about there, okay, and I've got two pencils here. I've got one that's broken and I've got one that is factory sharpened. And what you do, you have to expose the core. So that's just a case of cutting the wood away. So the best way to hold it is to hold it in your hand like this and put your thumb on it and then go right up to the tip. And you get your Stanley knife, or whatever knife it is, and instead of going like that, you actually push with your thumb. So this thumb here, let's just move so you can see it. I'm going to push with my thumb, and I'm pushing into the wood, and it's chipping away that wood every time I'm pushing with my thumb. And you can see this is absolutely brilliant. It's chipping away that wood, it's exposing that long core. I mean, you don't have to have it this long, and you just get a bit gentler as you get up to this point, because you've now exposed the core and you don't want to push too hard on the core at all. So I'm pushing with my thumb, I'm just shaving it off gently now, and there you have it. A long core. That's about 1 centimetre at least there. Okay, I can have it a lot longer than that if I want. I could come back here. But there we are, we have 1 centimetre there at least. Now from there, it's a case of getting your sandpaper and shaping the point. Now I keep my finger here and I rotate the pencil as I'm going. But you're not going to hurt yourself, because firstly you're going too gentle to do that, and eventually that will get to a point. You can push a little bit harder if you want. I would suggest using your old blades to do this with. I'm actually probably making this blunter too quick. So I'm just scraping away. You can see the powder coming off. And eventually that's going to be worn down to a point. I'm twisting it the other way now. Twisting it as I go. I'm going to get it to a point before I leave it, just so you can see the whole process. Try not to do it up here, otherwise you could end up with a gouge in the core. Try and do it just on the tip. Keep the angle of the Stanley knife pointing downwards. It's nowhere near your finger, it looks like it is, but if you look, it's nowhere near your finger. Nowhere near. Right? So just keep going like that. I'm going to get it to a point. If you want it to happen a bit quicker, just press a tiny bit harder. Now I can get this as sharp as I like, but I'm going to stop here because I don't want to bore you. But look at that. Isn't that superb? Now that's the proper, and for me, the only way you should be sharpening pastel pencils. Let's do it again, shall we? There's the white pencil. I'll show you how to do it. Rest it on there. Put your knife on there and push with your thumb. Don't push downwards, push along. The wood will expose the core. You will notice that I'm actually finding it a little bit harder now, and that's because I've just used this on the actual pastel, which I don't suggest you do. You use your old blades or a piece of sandpaper. If I was to push like that, I could get the wood off, but I could also push down on the core and break it. So I'm just pushing along with my thumb, exposing the core. There we go. Just getting there, almost there. One more, two more bits. And you just fiddle about with it, getting all the wood off. And there we have a sharpened pencil. You can see how easy it is, and then again you just shape this with your sandpaper or with this knife, or with an old blade, I would say would probably be the best way. Right, as I said, forget all the other things. They're good, but they're not going to last. That will last, and you just have to keep replacing the Stanley blade every now and then. And we're probably saying, you know, if you were using your pencil a lot, you could probably make that last at least a couple of weeks. At least, if not more. But that's the only way I sharpen pastel pencils now. All of the others, they're very short-lived and they're very expensive. The Stanley knife is by far the best way to sharpen your pastel pencils. You will get the nib you want, the point you want, and you will be able to remove the wood far easier. And in the same bargain, you're not twisting the core when you're going like that with your handheld sharpener, and you're not twisting the core when you're doing the rotational sharpener or the manual sharpener, whatever it is you want to call it, the swordfish. So I hope you like that video. I actually teach my art group to do the pencils that way, and although they don't do it, it's because they're getting me to do it for them. But they know how they should do it. They know they can't sharpen it with manual sharpeners very well. And they know that I can do it with the Stanley knife. And they ask me all of the time. But You don't need a lot of practice to do that. It's just pushing with your thumb like that. That's all it is. So I wish you all the best in all your pastel penciling, and I hope that you've learned something from that, and I hope it will be very useful to you. Anyway, whomever, wherever you are, please have a great day, a great week and a great year, and be kind to everybody. And I'll catch you in the next video. And hopefully we'll be at 1,000 subscribers by then. Bye for now.